Alright, so now we are going to talk about Morph Target, and the concept of this might be a little bit complicated, but pay a bit of more attention, and then I think you will grab the concept really quickly. It is not that complicated, but you just need to be more alert and understand the concept of this. You'll be really very useful, and then you can think of countless of creative ways to improve your sculpting and application of textures and alphas on your model. It's just up to your creativity at that point. All right, so I'm gonna teach this to you. So default location of this will be under Tools, Morph Targets, Store Morph Target. Okay, so it'll be over here. It's also on top left of our interface. I'll go through that later. So what it does, it saves your current mesh in the current state. So I like to think of this like a time machine. So this is like a time machine, or when you play games, this is like the save point. The save point is like a star before you go into your boss fight. Okay, so why do you need to have a state like this? So why do we need a state like this? Because before we make a big change to a model, it's always good that we have some ways to revert back. This is like not just undo. This is a way that we can use a brush to determine where we want to undo. We use a brush to determine where we want to time travel to this state. We use a brush to illustrate where we want to apply the different mask area, the different areas of the texture that you applied, depending on your big change on the model. Okay? So it may sound a bit complicated, but just understand. You save the current state, and then you use a morph brush to bring it back. Pew! Time machine, baby. So awesome stuff. Okay, I'll show you very easy example to get started. So we have a ball sphere of 4 million polygons. Just now that I show you, the noise is not applied yet. So I need to do this before I apply the noise, because like I said before, you want to do it before you do a big change to the model. Okay, so you save this state. So how do we do that? We go to the top left corner. Okay, and your mesh is just like this. You will have a button, and you can just press store morph target. So once you press this button, the morph target will be stored. Its default location is also located at Tools, Morph Target, Store Morph Target. It's over here. So once you have this morph target stored, you will see another two buttons lit up. This other button beside it is the delete morph target button. Another button is the switch button. I'll talk about that later. So delete morph target, as easy as it sounds, is just to delete it. Okay. So now what we need to do is we want to make a bigger change to the model, right? We have already saved our state. Now we want to apply a big change to the model. So in this case, I'll just apply my surface noise under surface, tools surface noise. So I already have this noise configured. I think maybe I'll just make the strength even stronger to make it easier to illustrate the point, and then I'll apply this to my mesh. So now this mesh has this texture going on. It's baked already. Everything is being applied. So it is quite a big change. I'm literally changing every single pixel on this polygon. And you will see that on the side, I have this stretching here. So what I'd like to do is I like to use my morph brush to take me back to the state that it was smooth on some of these areas. So I'm going to open up some patches, and then I'm going to delete away the way that people will see this flaw on my model. So I think of this as being very smart. I'm just using my morph brush. You press B, you can press M, and then you go to morph. You can access your default morph brush as well. So on our keyboard shortcuts is available on our interface on the top left over here. And then I'll just apply this. Ooh, time travel. Okay, so the RGB channel, I don't know why it's on. It doesn't work. It's just solely on the Z intensity. All right, just so you know, for your knowledge. So if I were to use a value of 3, I can make it very subtle. So I can apply a very subtle way of undoing this certain areas. So I'm making this patch here not have any stretching. It wasn't the best solution, but it is a beginning of something. Like at least I delete this flaw. Later maybe I can apply another alpha. Later there's so many possibilities. I can find dozens of other ways that I can do with this thing. So it's really powerful. And if I don't like the front texture, I off my symmetry, sorry. And then I'll just make it less organic. Remember when I was talking about when we were sculpting a rock, we want the rock to not look so filtery. We want the rock to break up the filter effects all over the place. Now this skin is towable. I apply a towable texture. The alpha is pretty good, but there are times where I don't want it to look so filtered. It looks so too static. It looks too robotic. It's not handcrafted. People like handcrafted and articulated, uh, specially designed textiles and textures on it. So some of this we need some more love, I would say. Like you need to put in more effort to articulate and decide where the detail is going to be, the texture is going to be. So I'll do something like this, and then I'll call this a first pass. Like I've used the morph brush to undo back a lot of different areas, and then it's almost as if my surface noise was only applied on these different areas. So using a combination of a morph target, morph brush, and surface noise, I can create a really good patch of textures on my model without any seams. So just now what we remove is all the seams, all the problems. Could be a problem with UV, could be a problem with projection. In this case, it's problem with projection because the surface noise, the way I applied just now, is just based on our projection. It's just based on our camera, right? So if our camera starts from this angle, the stretching will always be on the side. So that's a fact. So there is going to be some flaws depending on the techniques that you use, but depending on our creativity, we can hide our flaws, and that's the most important part about using Morph Target, I think. All right, so same thing. If you want to use switch geometry, so what's going to happen? So let's try it out. Switch. So if we were to switch, hold on. I think it's a bit of accident. What's supposed to happen is these areas should be black. So I should get the textiles back out on this area. I'm not sure if this is working. Okay, this is a bit awkward. Okay, I'll show you a better example of using switch on the next video. All right. All right. Yeah, but that was really cool too. Okay, so I'll show you more about using switch on the next video. See you next time. Bye bye.